Past simple tense. Usage.
Today we're going to talk about the past simple tense. Now, the past simple has one core idea: we use it to talk about things that happened and finished in the past. But there's more to it than that. We use it in several different situations, and today we're going to go through all of them, one by one. Let's get started. 1. Completed actions, states, or habits at a finished time. The most common use of the past simple is for actions, states, or habits that happened at a specific time in the past, a time that is now finished. For example, I visited my cousin last Saturday. This is simple. The visit happened on Saturday. Saturday is over. So we use the past simple. Next. She worked in a cafe in 2022. The year 2022 is finished. Her time working at that cafe is finished. Past simple. And we watched a movie yesterday evening. Yesterday evening is gone. The action is complete. Past simple. So the key idea is, the action is finished, and the time is clearly in the past. Past simple versus present perfect. Now, this is a place where students often make mistakes, so let's look at this carefully. Past simple, I saw Emma yesterday. Present perfect, I've seen Emma this week. Both sentences are about seeing Emma. But notice the time expressions. Yesterday is finished. It's gone. So we use the past simple. This week is still going. It hasn't ended yet. So we use the present perfect. Same idea here. Past simple, we visited the museum last month. Present perfect, we visited the museum this month. Last month is finished. This month is still ongoing. And this brings us to a very important rule: do not use the present perfect with a finished time expression. So this is wrong. I've visited the museum yesterday. Yesterday is a finished time. We need the past simple: I visited the museum yesterday. The key idea is, finished time expression always use the past simple. 2. Past events from history or finished time periods. We also use the past simple for events or facts from a period in history that is completely over. This is especially common when we talk about people who are no longer alive. For example, William Shakespeare wrote many famous plays. Shakespeare lived in the 1500s and 1600s. That time period is completely finished. Past simple. The first astronauts traveled to the moon. Those Apollo missions happened in the 1960s and 70s. Finished. Past simple. Florence Nightingale helped improve hospital care. She passed away in 1910. Her life belongs to history. Past simple. Past simple versus present perfect. Now here's something interesting. Past simple, my grandfather traveled to Italy many times. Present perfect, my father has traveled to Italy many times. When I say my grandfather traveled to Italy, I'm talking about someone whose life is in the past. That period is over. But when I say my father has traveled to Italy, he's still alive. His experiences are still part of his life right now. Present perfect. So the key idea is, when we're talking about someone who is no longer alive, or about a finished historical period, we use the past simple. 3. Giving details about earlier news or experiences. Sometimes we first mention something that happened, and then we explain the details. When we explain those details, we use the past simple. For example, I had a problem this morning. I left my wallet on the train. The first sentence tells us something happened. The second sentence gives us the specific detail what exactly happened. Past simple. She had an exciting weekend. She joined a cooking class. Same idea. The detail joining the cooking class is in the past simple. We had a busy day. We cleaned the house and washed the car. Again, the specific actions are explained in the past simple. So the key idea is, use the past simple when you're explaining what happened in detail. 4. Telling stories and a sequence of events. The past simple is the main tense for telling stories. When actions happen one after another, we use it to move the story forward. For example, Tom opened the gate, walked inside, and greeted his friend. 3 actions, one after the other. Open, walk, greet. All past simple. The cat jumped onto the table, knocked over a cup, and ran away. Jump, knock over, run away. A clear sequence. Past simple. Anna arrived at the station, bought a ticket, and entered the train. Arrive, buy, enter. Each action moves the story forward. Past simple. So the key idea is, every completed action that moves a story forward is in the past simple. 5. Main events in a story with background information. When we tell a story, we don't only describe what happened. Sometimes we also describe what was already going on in the background. In these cases, the past simple describes the main events, and another tense the past continuous describes the background. For example, Lucy entered the classroom. Students were talking quietly. She sat down and opened her book. The main events are, Lucy entered, she sat down, she opened her book. Those are things that happened. Past simple. Students were talking quietly, that's the background. It was already happening when Lucy walked in. Next. The family reached the beach. People were swimming in the sea. They found a place to sit. Main events, reached the beach, found a place to sit past simple. Background. People were swimming already happening. And Jack walked into the kitchen. His mother was making dinner. He helped set the table. Main events, walked in, helped set the table past simple. Background, mother was making dinner already in progress. So the key idea is, the past simple carries the main events of the story, the things that actually happen and move the story forward. 6. Finished actions with no present result. We also use the past simple when an action finished in the past and the situation has already been resolved. There is no important connection to right now. For example, I lost my phone last year, but I bought a new one. I lost my phone finished. I bought a new one also finished. The situation is resolved. Past simple. She broke her glasses last month and replaced them later. Broke them, replaced them. Done. Past simple. We missed the bus yesterday, so we took a taxi. Missed the bus, took a taxi, got where we were going. All finished. Past simple. Past simple versus present perfect. Now compare these two. Past simple, I lost my phone last year. Present perfect, I've lost my phone. When I say, I lost my phone last year, I've moved on. I probably have a new one. The situation is closed. But when I say, I've lost my phone, it means right now, I don't have it. There is a present result. That's why we use the present perfect. So the key idea is, when the situation is resolved and there's no present consequence, use the past simple. 7. Unreal or imaginary situations. Now, this last use might surprise you. The past simple doesn't always talk about the past. We also use it to talk about situations that are not real things we're imagining or wishing for. For example, if I lived near the beach, I would swim every weekend. Do I live near the beach? No. This is imaginary. I'm just imagining what life would be like. We use the past simple live to show the situation is not real. If he spoke French, he could work in Paris. Does he speak French? No. This is hypothetical. Spoke tells us this is not reality. I wish I had a little more free time. Do I have a lot of free time? No. I'm wishing for something I don't have. Past simple had to show it's not real. So in this case, the past simple is not about time at all. It's about distance from reality. The situation is imagined, not real. The key idea is, we use the past simple to talk about situations that are not true right now. Quick review. Alright, before we finish, let's do a quick review. We've covered 7 uses of the past simple today. Use number 1 is for a completed action that happened at a finished time in the past. For example, I visited my cousin last Saturday. Use number 2 is for past events, facts, or life periods that are completely finished. For example, Shakespeare wrote many famous plays. Use number 3 is for giving extra details about something that happened in the past. For example, I left my wallet on the train. Use number 4 is for a series of actions that happen one after another in a story. For example, she arrived, bought a ticket, and entered the train. Use number 5 is for main actions in a story, often with background information. For example, he walked into the kitchen and helped set the table. Use number 6 is for a finished action in the past with no connection to the present. For example, I lost my phone last year. And use number 7 is for imagined or unreal situations in the present or future. For example, if I lived near the beach, I would swim every weekend. Lesson summary. Alright, let's finish with the big picture. The past simple is a tense you use when something is completely finished. Sometimes that's a completed action at a specific time in the past. Sometimes it's a historical event or the life of someone no longer alive. Sometimes it's the details of a story, or a sequence of events that happened one after another. Sometimes it's an action that is finished and has no present consequence. And sometimes, perhaps surprisingly, it's not about the past at all. It's about something imaginary, something that is not real right now. But the most important thing to remember is the difference between the past simple and the present perfect. The past simple looks at the past and stays there. The present perfect looks at the past but stays connected to the present. So when you're deciding which tense to use, ask yourself, is there a connection to right now? If yes, think about the present perfect. If no, the past simple is probably what you need.
Structure.
Now let's move on and look at how we actually build the simple past tense in English. And I want to tell you something important before we start. This tense has 2 sides to it. One side is for the verb be, and the other side is for all other verbs. They follow slightly different patterns, so we are going to look at them separately. But once you understand both, you will see that the logic is actually very consistent. Let's start with the verb be. In a positive sentence, the structure is very simple. We have the subject, and then we use either was or were. That is it. There is no extra verb needed. For example, I was tired. They were happy. The verb be in the past already carries the full meaning by itself. Now if we want to make it negative, we simply add not right after was or were. So we get was not or were not. For example, she was not ready. We were not there. Notice that we do not add any other verb. The structure stays clean and short. When we ask a yes or no question with the verb be, we flip the order. Instead of starting with the subject, we start with was or were, and then we put the subject after it. So we might ask, was she ready? Were they at the meeting? The subject and the verb simply switch positions. And for WH questions, we add a question word at the very beginning. Words like what, where, why, when, who. Then we follow the same question order. The question word, then, was, or were, then the subject. For example, where were you yesterday? Why was he so quiet? Now let's move to all other verbs. And here is where things change a little. In a positive sentence, we do not use was or were. Instead, we change the main verb itself into its past form. We call this V2, or the past form of the verb. So go becomes went. Study becomes studied. Eat becomes ate. The subject stays the same, and the verb changes. For example, she studied all night. They went to the park. When we make it negative, something interesting happens. We bring in a helper. We use did not before the verb, but now the verb goes back to its base form. So instead of saying, she studied not, which is incorrect, we say, she did not study. The word did already carries the past meaning, so the main verb does not need to change. For yes or no questions, we bring did to the front. So the order becomes did, then the subject, then the base form of the verb. For example, did she study last night? Did they go to the park? Again, notice that the main verb returns to its base form because did is doing the work of showing past time. And for WH questions, just like with the verb be, we place the question word at the front. Then we follow with did, then the subject, then the base verb. For example, what did she study? Where did they go? So if you step back and look at the whole picture, you will notice one thing that stays the same across both columns. The question structure always moves the key word to the front. With be, it is, was, or were. With other verbs, it is, did. In both cases, that word moves before the subject. And the negative structure always places not right after that same key word. The only real difference between the two columns is that with other verbs, we use did as a helper, and the main verb returns to its base form whenever did is present. If you keep these two patterns clear in your mind, you will find that making sentences, negatives, and questions in the simple past becomes much more natural and automatic. Now let's put this structure into practice and go through each subject together. This is the simple past, and I want you to pay attention not just to the grammar, but to the meaning behind it. When we use this form, we are focusing on an action or a state that happened in the past and is already finished. We don't care whether it is still true now. We only care that it happened at that point in the past. Let's first look at the verb be, which means was and were, and then we will look at other verbs. Let's go through each subject step by step. I will read every sentence and explain the meaning as we go. Let's start with I. When I say I was late yesterday, I am telling you that yesterday, at that past point in time, I was late. This is simply a description of a past state. When I say I was not late yesterday, or I wasn't late yesterday, I am denying that I was late yesterday. Was I late yesterday? Now I am checking whether this past state is true. Why was I late yesterday? Here I am not asking whether I was late or not. I am asking for the reason behind it. Now let's look at you. You were busy yesterday means that yesterday, you were in a state of being busy. This is a finished past state. You were not busy yesterday, or you weren't busy yesterday, denies that you were busy yesterday. Were you busy yesterday? I am checking whether you were really busy. What were you busy with yesterday? Now I want to know what exactly you were busy doing. Now with he. He was at home yesterday describes a past state, that yesterday he was at home. He was not at home yesterday, or he wasn't at home yesterday, denies that he was at home yesterday. Was he at home yesterday? I am checking whether he was at home. Where was he yesterday? Here I am not asking whether he was home or not. I want to know where he actually was. Now let's talk about she. She was happy yesterday describes a finished past state, that yesterday she was happy. She was not happy yesterday, or she wasn't happy yesterday, denies that she was happy yesterday. Was she happy yesterday? I am checking whether this past state is true. Why was she happy yesterday? Here I care about the reason for her happiness. Now with it. It was under the table yesterday describes a past location, that yesterday it was under the table. It was not under the table yesterday, or it wasn't under the table yesterday, denies that it was under the table yesterday. Was it under the table yesterday? I am checking whether this is true. Where was it yesterday? Now I want to know where it actually was. Now let's look at we. We were ready yesterday describes a completed past state, that yesterday we were ready. We were not ready yesterday, or we weren't ready yesterday, denies that we were ready yesterday. Were we ready yesterday? I am checking whether we were really ready. What were we ready for yesterday? Here I want to know what exactly we were ready for. Finally, they. They were tired yesterday describes a finished past state, that yesterday they were tired. They were not tired yesterday, or they weren't tired yesterday, denies that they were tired yesterday. Were they tired yesterday? I am checking whether they were really tired. Why were they tired yesterday? Here I care about the reason for their tiredness. Alright, let's take a quick break here and summarize the verb be. No matter who the subject is, when we describe a past state, we use was for singular subjects, and were for plural subjects and you. Remember this rule well. Now let's move on to other verbs in the simple past. This time we need the helping verb did to form negatives and questions. Let's start with I. I watched a movie yesterday means that yesterday, I watched a movie, and this action is already finished. I did not watch a movie yesterday, or I didn't watch a movie yesterday. Notice that after did not, the verb goes back to its base form, watch, not the past form. Did I watch a movie yesterday? In the same way, after did, the verb also goes back to its base form, watch. What did I watch yesterday? Here I want to know what movie I watched. Now let's look at you. You played basketball yesterday means that yesterday, you played basketball, and this action is finished. You did not play basketball yesterday, or you didn't play basketball yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, play. Did you play basketball yesterday? I am checking whether you played basketball. Where did you play basketball yesterday? Here I want to know where you played basketball. Now with he. He visited his grandparents yesterday means that yesterday, he visited his grandparents, and this action is finished. He did not visit his grandparents yesterday, or he didn't visit his grandparents yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, visit. Did he visit his grandparents yesterday? I am checking whether he visited his grandparents. Who did he visit yesterday? Here I want to know who he visited. Now let's talk about she. She studied English yesterday means that yesterday, she studied English, and this action is finished. She did not study English yesterday, or she didn't study English yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, study. Did she study English yesterday? I am checking whether she studied English. What did she study yesterday? Here I want to know what subject she studied. Now with it. It slept under the table yesterday means that yesterday, it slept under the table, and this action is finished. It did not sleep under the table yesterday, or it didn't sleep under the table yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, sleep. Did it sleep under the table yesterday? I am checking whether it slept under the table. Where did it sleep yesterday? Here I want to know where it actually slept. Now let's look at we. We prepared for the test yesterday means that yesterday, we prepared for the test, and this action is finished. We did not prepare for the test yesterday, or we didn't prepare for the test yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, prepare. Did we prepare for the test yesterday? I am checking whether we prepared for the test. What did we prepare for yesterday? Here I want to know what exactly we were preparing for. Finally, they. They arrived at school early yesterday means that yesterday, they arrived at school early, and this action is finished. They did not arrive at school early yesterday, or they didn't arrive at school early yesterday. The verb goes back to the base form, arrive. Did they arrive at school early yesterday? I am checking whether they arrived at school early. When did they arrive at school yesterday? Here I want to know exactly when they arrived. Alright, let's step back and connect everything. With the simple past, whether we are using the verb be or other verbs, the core idea is the same. We are describing an action or a state that happened in the past and is already finished. We are not focused on whether it is still true now. We are only focused on the fact that it happened at that specific point in the past. The verb be uses was and were to show the past, while other verbs use their past tense forms, or rely on did together with the base form in negatives and questions. So remember this simple idea. The action is over. The time has passed. This is the core spirit of the simple past.
Points to note.
Today we are going to learn verb forms, V1, V2, and V3, and how we form them in English. These three forms are very important. V1, base form, is used in the present simple and with will. V2, past simple, is used to talk about the past. V3, past participle, is used in perfect tenses and passive voice. Now let's learn the spelling rules step by step. 1. Regular verbs. For most verbs, we form the past simple, V2, and past participle, V3, by adding ed. Examples. Walk walked walked. Cook cooked cooked. Listen listened listened. Work worked worked. Rain rained rained. Example sentences. I walk to school every day. I walked to school yesterday. I have walked to school many times. So remember. For most verbs, V2 and V3 are formed by adding ed. 2. Verbs ending in e. For verbs ending in e, we form V2 and V3 by adding d. Examples. Live lived lived. Love loved loved. Like liked liked. Dance danced danced. Use used used. Example sentences. She lives in Taipei. She lived in Tokyo last year. She has lived here for 5 years. So remember. For verbs ending in e, we add d to form V2 and V3. 3. Verbs ending in y. Now we need to look at the letter before y. A. Vowel plus y. If there is a vowel before y, we form V2 and V3 by adding ed. Examples. Play played played. Enjoy enjoyed enjoyed. Stay stayed stayed. Destroy destroyed destroyed. Employ employed employed. Example sentences. They play basketball every day. They played basketball yesterday. They have played many games. So remember. For verbs with a vowel before y, we add ed. B. Consonant plus y. If there is a consonant before y, we change y to I and add ed. Examples. Carry carried carried. Worry worried worried. Reply replied replied. Study studied studied. Cry cried cried. Example sentences. She carries a bag. She carried a bag yesterday. She has carried many bags. So remember. For verbs with a consonant before y, we change y to I and add ed. 4. CVC verbs or stressed final syllable. For some verbs, we need to double the final consonant before adding ed. This happens when the verb follows a consonant, vowel, consonant, CVC, pattern, or the final syllable is stressed. Examples. Stop stopped stopped. Chat chatted chatted. Shop shopped shopped. Admit admitted admitted. Drop, dropped, dropped. Example sentences. He stopped the car. He stopped the car yesterday. He has stopped many times. So remember. For CVC verbs or stressed final syllables, we double the final consonant and add ed. Important exception. We do not double W or X. Examples. Snow, snowed, snowed. Fix, fixed, fixed. 5. Verbs ending in C. For verbs ending in C, we form V2 and V3 by adding K plus ed. Examples. Panic, panicked, panicked. Picnic, picnicked, picnicked. Mimic, mimicked, mimicked. Frolic, frolicked, frolicked. Shellac, shellacked, shellacked. Example sentences. She panicked during the test. They picnicked in the park. He mimicked his teacher. So remember. For verbs ending in C, we add K before ed. 6. Irregular verbs. Irregular verbs do not follow spelling rules. Their forms are different and must be memorized. Examples. Go, went, gone. Eat, ate, eaten. Write, wrote, written. See, saw, seen. Take, took, taken. Example sentences. I go to school every day. I went to school yesterday. I have gone to school many times. So remember. Irregular verbs must be memorized because they do not follow a pattern. Summary. Let's review everything. 1. For most verbs, we add ed to form V2 and V3. Walk, walked, walked. 2. For verbs ending in E, we add D. Live, lived, lived. 3. For verbs ending in Y. Vowel plus Y add ed. Play, played, played. Consonant plus Y change Y to I and add ed. Carry, carried, carried. 4. For CVC verbs or stressed syllables, we double the final consonant and add ed. Stop, stopped, stopped. 5. For verbs ending in C, we add K plus ed. Panic, panicked, panicked. 6. Irregular verbs must be memorized. Go, went, gone. Final message. When learning verb forms, always remember. Regular verbs follow clear spelling rules, but irregular verbs must be memorized. With practice, these forms will become natural and automatic.
100 sentences. I visited my cousin last Saturday.
This describes a completed action. It means I went to see my cousin on Saturday, and that visit is over.
She worked in a cafe in 2022.
This describes a completed state. It means she had a job at a cafe during 2022, and that job has ended.
We watched a movie yesterday evening.
This describes a completed activity. It means we finished watching a movie yesterday evening.
I saw Emma yesterday.
This describes a completed action. It means I met Emma yesterday, and that moment is over.
We visited the museum last month.
This describes a completed activity. It means we went to the museum last month, and that trip is finished.
He called his mother 3 days ago.
This describes a completed action. It means he phoned his mother 3 days ago.
They finished the project last week.
This describes a completed task. It means the project was completed by the end of last week.
I didn't visit the museum yesterday.
This describes a completed negative action. It means I did not go to the museum yesterday.
She didn't work last Sunday.
This describes a completed negative state. It means she had the day off last Sunday.
We didn't watch the news last night.
This describes a completed negative activity. It means we did not turn on the news last night.
Did you visit your cousin last Saturday?
This is a question about a completed action. We want to know if you went to see your cousin on Saturday.
Did she work in a cafe in 2022?
This is a question about a completed state. We want to know if she had a job at a cafe during 2022.
Did they finish the project last week?
This is a question about a completed task. We want to know if the project was completed by last week.
What did you do yesterday evening?
This asks for a specific thing. We want to know what you did yesterday evening.
Where did she work in 2022?
This asks about location. We want to know the place she worked at in 2022.
I visited the museum last week.
This describes a completed activity. It means I went to the museum last week, and that visit is over.
I shouldn't have said that yesterday.
This describes a completed regret. It means I said something yesterday that I now wish I hadn't.
He played basketball every afternoon last summer.
This describes a completed past habit. It means he played basketball regularly during last summer.
William Shakespeare wrote many famous plays.
This describes a historical fact. It means Shakespeare created many well-known plays during his life.
The first astronauts traveled to the moon.
This describes a historical event. It means the earliest astronauts made a journey to the moon.
Florence Nightingale helped improve hospital care.
This describes a historical fact. It means she made hospitals better during her lifetime.
My grandfather traveled to Italy many times.
This describes a past habit. It means my grandfather went to Italy on many occasions during his life.
Ancient Egyptians built the pyramids.
This describes a historical fact. It means the pyramids were constructed by people in ancient Egypt.
Marie Curie discovered radium.
This describes a historical fact. It means she found the element radium during her scientific work.
The Roman Empire didn't last forever.
This describes a historical fact in negative form. It means the Roman Empire eventually came to an end.
Beethoven didn't write any pop songs.
This describes a historical fact in negative form. It means pop music did not exist during his lifetime.
Did Shakespeare write any poems?
This is a question about a historical fact. We want to know if Shakespeare also wrote poems.
Did the ancient Romans build roads across Europe?
This is a question about a historical fact. We want to know if the Romans constructed roads in Europe.
What did Florence Nightingale do for hospitals?
This asks about a historical fact. We want to know what she did to improve hospitals.
Albert Einstein developed the theory of relativity.
This describes a historical fact. It means Einstein created this scientific theory during his life.
I had a problem this morning. I left my wallet on the train.
This describes a completed problem with its detail. It means I forgot my wallet on the train this morning.
She had an exciting weekend. She joined a cooking class.
This describes a completed experience with its detail. It means she took a cooking class over the weekend.
We had a busy day. We cleaned the house and washed the car.
This describes a completed day with its details. It means we did housework and cleaned the car that day.
He had a strange dream. A talking cat followed him.
This describes a completed experience with its detail. It means a cat that could talk appeared in his dream.
They had a great trip. They tried local food and met new friends.
This describes a completed trip with its details. It means they enjoyed local food and made new friends.
I had bad news today. My flight got cancelled.
This describes a completed event with its detail. It means my flight was cancelled today.
She didn't mention the reason. She just said she felt tired.
This describes a completed negative detail. It means she only said she was tired without explaining why.
We didn't explain everything. We only described the main problem.
This describes a completed negative detail. It means we left out some information and only gave the key part.
What exactly happened this morning?
This asks for a specific detail. We want to know precisely what occurred this morning.
What did you leave on the train?
This asks for a specific detail. We want to know exactly what item you forgot on the train.
Did she join a cooking class over the weekend?
This is a question about a detail. We want to know if she took a cooking class.
Why did your flight get cancelled?
This asks for a reason. We want to know what caused your flight to be cancelled.
Tom opened the gate, walked inside, and greeted his friend.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means Tom did these three things one after another.
The cat jumped onto the table, knocked over a cup, and ran away.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means the cat did these three things in order.
Anna arrived at the station, bought a ticket, and entered the train.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means Anna did these three things one by one.
He woke up, made coffee, and read the newspaper.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means he did these three things in his morning routine.
She opened the door, turned on the light, and sat down.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means she did these three things one after another.
The thief broke the window, grabbed the jewelry, and escaped quickly.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means the thief did these three things in order.
We packed our bags, locked the door, and left for the airport.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means we did these three things before our trip.
The teacher entered the room, greeted the students, and began the lesson.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means the teacher did these three things in order.
I didn't lock the door before I left.
This describes a missing action in a sequence. It means I forgot to lock the door when I left.
She didn't say goodbye before she walked away.
This describes a missing action in a sequence. It means she left without saying goodbye.
They didn't stop to rest during the whole hike.
This describes a continuous sequence with no break. It means they kept walking the entire time.
Did Tom greet his friend after he walked inside?
This is a question about a sequence of events. We want to know if Tom greeted his friend after entering.
Did the cat run away after it knocked over the cup?
This is a question about a sequence of events. We want to know if the cat ran away after the cup fell.
What did Anna do after she bought the ticket?
This asks about a sequence of events. We want to know what Anna did next.
What happened after the thief broke the window?
This asks about a sequence of events. We want to know what the thief did next.
Where did they go after they left the airport?
This asks about a sequence of events. We want to know their next location.
How did the story end?
This asks about the final event in a sequence. We want to know how everything concluded.
First she called her boss, then she packed her laptop, and finally she left the office.
This describes a sequence of completed actions. It means she did these three things in this exact order.
Lucy entered the classroom. Students were talking quietly. She sat down and opened her book.
This describes a story with background. It means Lucy did these actions while the talking was already happening.
The family reached the beach. People were swimming in the sea. They found a place to sit.
This describes a story with background. It means the family arrived while swimming was already happening.
Jack walked into the kitchen. His mother was making dinner. He helped set the table.
This describes a story with background. It means Jack entered while his mother was already cooking.
I arrived at the party. Everyone was dancing. I joined them on the dance floor.
This describes a story with background. It means I got there while the dancing was already in progress.
The phone rang while she was cooking. She answered it immediately.
This describes an interruption during an ongoing action. It means the call came while she was cooking.
He looked outside. Rain was falling heavily. He decided to stay home.
This describes a story with background. It means he checked outside while the rain was already falling.
The manager opened the door. Employees were working at their desks. He greeted everyone.
This describes a story with background. It means the manager arrived while everyone was already working.
She didn't notice the noise while she was reading.
This describes a missed event during an ongoing action. It means the noise happened but she didn't hear it.
We didn't see him because he was hiding behind the tree.
This describes a missed event due to a background situation. It means he stayed hidden so we couldn't see him.
Did Lucy sit down while the students were talking?
This is a question about a story with background. We want to know if Lucy sat down during the talking.
Did the family find a seat while people were swimming?
This is a question about a story with background. We want to know if they found a seat during the swimming.
What was Jack's mother doing when he walked in?
This asks about a background action. We want to know what she was doing at that moment.
What happened while everyone was dancing?
This asks about an event during a background action. We want to know what occurred during the dancing.
Why did he decide to stay home?
This asks for a reason. We want to know why he chose not to go out.
Who was working at their desk when the manager arrived?
This asks about a background activity. We want to know who was already working at that moment.
I lost my phone last year, but I bought a new one.
This describes a finished situation. It means the phone problem is over and already resolved.
She broke her glasses last month and replaced them later.
This describes a finished situation. It means her broken glasses were already fixed by getting new ones.
We missed the bus yesterday, so we took a taxi.
This describes a finished situation. It means we solved the problem by taking a taxi instead.
I lost my phone last year.
This describes a finished event. It means the phone loss happened last year and is now in the past.
He forgot his umbrella once, but it didn't rain that day.
This describes a finished situation. It means forgetting the umbrella ended up not being a problem.
They had a small accident last year, but everyone was fine afterward.
This describes a finished situation. It means the accident happened and everyone recovered without lasting harm.
I burned the toast this morning, so I made a new piece.
This describes a finished situation. It means I fixed the mistake by making fresh toast.
She didn't fix the printer herself, a technician repaired it later.
This describes a finished situation. It means someone else solved the printer problem afterward.
We didn't keep the broken chair, we threw it away.
This describes a finished situation. It means we got rid of the chair instead of keeping it.
Did you lose your wallet last year?
This is a question about a finished situation. We want to know if your wallet went missing last year.
Did she replace her broken glasses?
This is a question about a finished situation. We want to know if she got new glasses afterward.
How did you get to work after you missed the bus?
This asks about a finished situation. We want to know how you solved the transportation problem.
What did you do after you burned the toast?
This asks about a finished situation. We want to know how you handled the burnt toast.
Why did the technician repair the printer?
This asks for a reason. We want to know why a technician was needed to fix the printer.
I replaced my old laptop last year.
This describes a finished situation. It means I got a new laptop to replace the old one last year.
If I lived near the beach, I would swim every weekend.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means I don't actually live near the beach, but I am imagining it.
If he spoke French, he could work in Paris.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means he doesn't actually speak French, but he is imagining if he did.
I wish I had a little more free time.
This describes a wish about something not true. It means I don't actually have much free time right now.
If she had a car, she wouldn't need to take the bus.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means she doesn't actually have a car, but she is imagining if she did.
I wish I knew the answer.
This describes a wish about something not true. It means I don't actually know the answer right now.
If we lived in Japan, we would learn Japanese quickly.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means we don't actually live in Japan, but we are imagining it.
If they didn't work so much, they would travel more.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means they actually do work a lot, so this is imagined differently.
I wouldn't worry if I were you.
This describes an imaginary situation. It means I am imagining myself in your situation, even though I am not you.
If you had more time, what would you do?
This asks about an imaginary situation. We want to know what you would do if things were different.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
This asks about an imaginary situation. We want to know your idea even though it isn't real right now.